It'll take me a minute to get the thing set up as usual. Can you hear me?
Yes.
How do I sound?
Well, horrible as usual.
Well, I mean, audio wise.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. If there was
Excellent.
actually a problem, I wouldn't be sarcastic.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Good. Welcome to anybody who might. I think we're actually live now. So, welcome to anybody who might already. And what happens is we take a couple minutes to get set up here. So, if you are watching the live stream and it's not live, then maybe the best thing to do is to just skip ahead 2 minutes if you want. But Mark Engels is already here. I'm Joey Only. And Mark is down in Surrey, not
Good
Portland.
evening.
Yeah, Mark, how you doing this week?
Good. I took my social media hiatus and came back and I'm feeling I mean, I'm not gonna get too deep into the politics, but it's rough to be on social media after any major election as it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mind calling it like it is. Okay, image is up.
Oh, Imogen's here.
No image.
Oh, I was gonna say that's pretty early for her.
It's a it's like a destroyed kind of city with a stormy background, and it's got the cartoon version of Planet of the Apes guy there. It's a great image. Comedeorology 168. I think that's which one we're at now.
Sounds right.
Yeah, 168. Meteorological Halloween continues. That's bam, perfect.
Yeah, you
Okay, we
see
are
behind
going.
me my Christmas.
No, I haven't
I'm
actually looked at
I'm
you
one of the
yet. Oh,
people
I
you
see.
hate. I'm one of the people you hate.
Not really. It's
I
not
know
like
most of the
that.
time it's like in good fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I like
I
that.
honestly like I don't care if people don't set up for Christmas. Like I'm going to because I think it's nice, but I also accept that people don't. So like,
It's it's not that bothers me even so much. It's that at November 1st at 12:01 a.m., everything that was Halloween was gone in a store. It was just magic, just poof, gone, just poof.
yeah,
And then after this, uh the music changed to ding 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 ding, and I go into a couple stores to do my supply run, and I everyone I go into already, and it's like early Friday afternoon, and I'm thinking like these poor people who work here at the fucking dollar store for I don't know what minimum wage is right now. I haven't made minimum wage in a long time. Um, I either make a lot less doing this or make a lot more doing jobs that I do.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, I remember I remember those days and they never play like they always play the same. Like my Christmas playlist has it's diverse. But the grocery store Christmas playlist is not diverse and the dollar store Christmas playlist is even worse.
no, it's the tackiest. That's the
Yep.
thing, right? I have some great Christmas music, but it's not really appropriate.
There's some Weird Al on my Christmas playlist.
Well, you got to look up Christmas with the Vandals. The Vandals is this punk rock band from California, and they've been around forever, like since back to the 80s, right? And Christmas with the Vandals, um, yeah, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Uh,
So I don't know how to share screen now with
oh,
this
really?
new, yeah, this, cause I don't know if you had this. It made me update. Oh,
It made
share.
it made me
Aha.
update, but it's the same. Yeah, just the
No, everything's
green
just a
with
little
the up
different now.
arrow.
Everything's just a little different, and it looks nice. I like what I'm seeing. I just don't know where anything is right now.
Sure.
I
Looks
could
like we
see
got
how
a
it's,
Shelly here already.
hey, Shelly and friends from Prince George. Let's look in what's going on right now in Canada. A whole lot of nothing. Look how nice it is everywhere. It's just wonderful out. Nothing's wrong with the
What are these
world.
warnings in the Yukon?
This Dempster Highway blizzard's been going on for like a fucking week, man. Dempster Highway near the Richardson Mountains this afternoon till Friday near noon. Like literally, I've not for a week. looked up there and not seen this warning on. And you got to understand what this highway
Well, yeah, it's just a gravel road
highway.
with
Yeah.
like potholes and it's all rutted out. And yeah, I've looked into driving up here because I'd love to drive up to Tuck sometime.
Well, and there's this place up here. This might be it here, Eagle Plains, maybe even. There's a place up there. There's a truck stop. And it's like the only thing for, it's crazier than Northern Ontario, which is this is the Yukon, man. You get north of
Well, this
Dawson
is
City.
this is this is the thing. When you drive this, it's 800 kilometers up to Tuck, and it's once you're 50 kilometers off the main highway there that goes through Dawson, it's gravel the rest of the way, and it's not good gravel. And you have to fill up in every village you go to because
You don't
that's
have much choice.
how yeah, that's how spread out it is.
Yeah, and Northern Ontario can be kind of like that, where there's these great stretches of highway through here where there's not much,
Yeah.
several hundred kilometers of not much, not much at all.
I
And even through this western section, it's very sparsely populated and there's not much up there. So you have some kind of a breakdown in the middle of the night. You could be hundreds of kilometers from anything. So what was cool was we're driving along with the band and we're pulling this little teardrop trailer, and all of a sudden the trailer's behind us going, we're like, holy shit, pull over slowly, and we know what's happened is it's popped off, the hood hitch has popped off the knob. What we didn't realize
oh
is
sure.
that
Yeah.
the metal had actually weakened over time and busted off. We didn't realize. We just knew that it was bouncing. So like trying to slow down so it doesn't come smashing in behind you. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I look over and it said, there's a sign that says, welcome to Terrace Bay. And there's a Napa Auto Parts 2 kilometers from where we were.
That's pretty good for being out there.
Yeah. And they didn't
I mean,
have what we
that's like a
needed.
half-hour walk.
The size they had was way different to the arm of our trailer, our hitch, our
Yeah.
arm of the trailer. So we had to like manufacture using things that we got from the same Napa Auto Parts, like you know 10 washers or something like that to fill the gap or whatever. We got on the road and got out of within an hour and a half, I think it was, out of Terrace Bay. And
That's like one time I was at Bear Lake in on the Idaho Utah border and woke up. We were camping and I woke up and the I had a Honda CRV at the time and the tire had just pancaked out. And so I look in the back of my car and I realize I don't have a jack in there. And the guys the couple we were camping with, they had a Toyota Corolla or something similar. And obviously a jack in a Corolla is not going to be tall enough for a CRV, but we found a rock and we just put the jack on the rock, jacked it up, put the spare tire on, and rolled into Logan, Utah to get it fixed.
a big flat pancake rock.
Yeah, yes,
What
yeah. It was
that's
heavy.
one that's solid enough. It's not thalitic.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be on the right end of the Mohs scale, right?
Yeah.
No, otherwise you
Yeah, no softies around here.
yeah. So
Um, this is probably that same storm that's going on up further north.
yeah, it's pretty much all connected. Yeah, absolutely right. And we can have a look at that in a second. 20, 30 centimeters. Oops. 20, 30 centimeters between
That's
White
pretty
Pass
good.
and Bennett.
In
And
a like an 18-hour period.
yeah, it's pretty good snowfall. We got rainfall
Probably all
warning still going on
powder.
until Friday.
They've got a flood warning out because the province does the flood warnings, and so they've got a flood warning out for Terrace and Prince Rupert and whatever. I don't know that
Do
area
they?
very
So it's
well.
overachieving, I think.
Yeah.
I think. And the
You
signs
know,
were
this
there
is
for it.
Yeah, this is something. I mean, I kind of checked out from so much earlier this week. I kind of just came back to reality, and oh, well, the North Coast is flooding.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. I've not been paying attention to much because it's been awful. I'm so glad you're in Canada now, man.
I know if anybody knows somebody to get me a provincial nomination for permanent residency, we have applied and we're in the queue now, but I have not scored very well.
There's time. There's time. So there you go. Flood warning. I missed this one. I've been trying to learn how to say some of these names. They're not easy though. But the Nass
You
River
know, I'd
tributaries:
I'd like to be better about these names too, but like to me, this is just letter soup.
Gingolts, Laxstalfsup, Get Laxstomachs.
Wait, shouldn't the apostrophe have like a pause? Black shots up or something like that.
I'm trying, and when they're local things, you get kind of used to, local dialect and kind of words.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is kind of the next region. This is out past Hilding Donaldson, who's just joining us here. All right. Atmospheric river impacting the north coast of British Columbia. Rainfall amounts of 30 to 80 millimeters have been observed across the region since yesterday. Ongoing rainfall is expected Thursday before tapering off into Friday. Temperatures have risen over the course of the day. Snowfall melt being observed. River conditions have been rising rapidly since Wednesday. Current flow conditions around Kitimat, Terrace, New Ayanch, and surrounding areas have been elevated with flows in the 2 to 10 years range. Additional rises through Thursday are possible. Well, Thursday is over now. Hydrologic forecasting highlighting the potential for flows to reach or exceed 20-year flow in areas later on Thursday. The current focus of high flows are rivers and tributaries around Kitimat. However, similar conditions can be expected in areas to the north. Terrace and Rupert and north to Nass tributaries. Flood and stream erosions are expected at these flow levels.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. This is the time of year for it. I mean, it's not like we've kind of been harping on this all season, but like when we talk about an atmospheric river, we're not saying this is an unusual event. It's just what we call this event.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Hi, Hilding.
overachieving.
Hello.
Evening,
Can you hear
Haldon.
me fine?
You're a little
What?
quiet now. We
Okay.
want to be closer than that.
Okay, I can pull my mic closer.
I'd give
You
it
need to
like,
be eating the mic.
well, no, last time he did it, it was peaking the meter a little bit too much. So I think you want to give it like 3 inches maybe if you're using the same volume still on your,
Well, I turned the volume down a little bit.
then maybe try eating it.
Then I should actually get up like this.
Yeah, get it right to you then if you turn the volume
Okay.
down.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I had an interesting one today. Like I have a friend here that came up here from Vancouver, and she wants to go visit some friends over at Nelson, and I'm like, this is the wrong time of year to be traveling all over BC because the month of November is when we have ice storms and they're not prepared to sand the roads. It was real hard to get her to understand that, like, you go out there and you expect the road is good, and it is good where you leave from, and you get 10 miles down the road and you hit this skating rink, somebody's going to have an accident.
Isn't Nelson like super far from you too? Like way north of you?
No,
No,
it's
Nelson's
actually
in the Kootenays.
east.
Oh, oh, oh. I was thinking Fort Nelson.
You're thinking
Yes,
Fort
that's
Nelson.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can
okay.
get way in on that mic if now that you have her turned down, Hilding.
Oh, okay.
Because
Is that better?
yeah, you're still quiet now compared to
Okay. Well,
the
maybe I
rest
can
of
turn it
us.
up a little bit then.
Yeah, do so. This is what this is the pre-show. It's the time for it.
Yeah.
I haven't even introduced the show. Hey, Karen Richards showing up there in Prince George, BC. Represent tonight. This Comedeorological Report recording session at 7 p.m. Frankie McDonald comes in and we hit another record. This is the live stream happening, but then we hit record on that, and we make 1 hour of a show that's quite entertaining. And that's
Depends
the
on who
thing,
you
Holding,
ask.
is not only is it treacherous through the mountain passes, like you can see Saturday might be, oops, Saturday might be, for example, in Rogers Pass and whatnot. Um, when you slide off the highway at this time of year, there isn't 6, 8, 10 feet of snowbanks along the edge of the highway to catch you. And sometimes you're going down 5, 10, 25. You're going over a bank 50 feet. People have gone further. I've sat there in Creston and talked to people who are like, oh, yeah. And then I went over the bank 150 feet and we were trapped down there all night, the guy's telling me. And it's like everybody like that. Everybody in Creston had some bad story of going over the Creston Selmo Pass. So you get the icing on the road and you don't have the road being frozen and nice is a good thing. Sunday's your next bet, So Friday and Sunday, I think if you got to make that travel into Alberta and try to make your way easterly, I think Sunday and Friday are the best days to maybe do it because here comes Monday.
I want to add real quick too. If you're like if you're driving on this highway and you know you have cell service along the highway the whole way, well, if you're 100 feet or even 50 feet down an embankment, like you're probably not going to have cell service. Like just because there's service on the highway doesn't mean there's service in your mangled up car down a hill. Like,
That's true.
you might fall off the road and nobody's going to see you from the highway. You're not going to have cell service to call somebody. Like,
The reality of a lot of these mountain passes where this bad weather is, where the snow is piling up and where conditions get miserable, is you are a long ways away from the cell tower in Revelstoke or in, on the other side. You're a long ways. So even, you're anywhere up on that highway, and everyone in BC knows this, but you still get caught by it all the time. People do. And nonetheless, like I say, there isn't, and even in Wells, I get that where when we get into later into the season and there's nice big snowbanks and the road's frozen, let's go. I love driving in the snow. It's great.
Yeah, there's a reason why I live in the only major city in Canada where it doesn't really snow.
I'm used to it. And then, I always figure like if it's going to be winter, it might as well be winter. I think it's going to be a cold time right here.
Yeah, look
Week,
at this
Wednesday.
high. Look at this high is really what shows that it's the cold is building in from the north. Of course, cold air is denser than warm air. And so this is why we get these high pressure. Like if you don't have to do this now, but if you were to look at the Yellowstone area in Wyoming, you would see there's a consistent high pressure over Yellowstone. This is cold air comes down, and this isn't a particularly robust cold pool, but it's good for this time of year.
Yeah, it'll follow this down and in. And I think we'll have a couple days. It's been nice and warm this week, even right now. 3.2 in Wells at this time of night. So that's extraordinary.
Is my sound coming through better now?
What?
You're still a little quiet.
Still a little quiet? Okay. My settings reset themselves because I had to upgrade Zoom. So now I went to set it and it was at 18 and it went up to 35. And then I couldn't get it to move more. So I'm going to have to try to reload settings and see if I can get it to move again.
Yeah, excellent.
Hey,
Well, this is a
what's that?
map of all the goodwill that's going on. Look at all the goodwill in Canada, and very little down there. Actually, no
This
snow.
blizzard going on in Colorado, by the way, is pretty crazy. It's Colorado, New Mexico, and like Western Kansas, and they're talking like 20 to 30 inches of snow northeast of Albuquerque in a 2 or 3 day period. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's a big deal. That's like 60 to 90 centimeters of snow, and this is an area that's high desert. Like it does not precipitate very much in this part of the world. It looks like it's tapering off now, especially in New Mexico, but we've talked about this before, how snow doesn't show up as well on the radar. And so these returns southeast of Colorado Springs are all very heavy snow. Um, there's a blizzard warning for much of northeastern New Mexico. Abilene, Texas, I used to live there. That's the cold front working through there. But I saw La Junta earlier. Well, La Junta is how you pronounce it in Spanish. Maybe they say it wrong in Colorado, but I saw a highway camera there earlier today that it was literally just you could see the guardrail and that's it. Everything else was white.
Second storm season. Oh, I forgot. Can turn sound on, so it sounds awesome.
This has been an incredible second storm season for much of the Southern Plains. Seems to be more than usual. I mean, that happens every now and then, so it's not like obscene, but
More
it
than
just seems
50
like more than
tornado
usual.
warnings in Oklahoma since November 1st.
Okay, my sound should be better now, huh?
Yeah, you're
Oh,
bang
you're
on now.
5'9" here.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Well, isn't that beautiful? And check this guy out.
This hurricane is really screwing up my forecasts at work because like where the F is it gonna go? Like half of the models, like I saw the GFS earlier today, run it over kind of close to Mexico, but then kind of loop around maybe 300 kilometers offshore, just north, and then offshore Louisiana and over and die by Florida. And one of them has it going down toward southern Mexico there, southeast of Mexico City. One of them has it going into Texas. Like it's horrible. I'm so this yesterday, you can see this cone here. Put on the National Hurricane Center cone real quick. Um, this cone yesterday favored it jutting up a little bit towards Louisiana, and it's very rare for the National Hurricane Center to have big deviations in their forecast like this. It's there's not very much steering current going on in this part of the world right now, and so it's just very hard to figure out where it's going to go.
I really thought it would chase after this lows up here.
Right, like get captured by the cold front or something.
Yeah, that's what I expected to see happen was sort of this somehow and
And did
follow
you hear
its
this?
trend.
I'll say hi to Monica Boyu. She's watching me.
Hey, Frankie. How's it going,
Monica
buddy?
Boyu's doing great.
Good to see you, man. Frankie, just a little
Show
early.
starts in a few minutes. Wait, starts at 11.
Yeah, I just need 1 minute here. We can almost get set up. Oh, look at all the people who are watching right now. Wow. I didn't realize. Amazing. Thanks for all the comments, everybody. That really warms my heart. I had with my tornado and seashell video, because I used the UBC footage, I got a copyright strike.
Oof.
And then I saw my views go down on the channel the last 2 days, and I was like, oh, I kind of despaired a little bit about it, and just good to see all the comments and support and love from everybody. Good. That's nice. Oh, excellent. And cool. I do have a few things I was going to share, but I think we've run out of time at least for, I'll have to wait till post-show coverage here on the live stream. Oh, and we're dinging there. I'm not sure. Oh, Frankie, check it out. Mystic Mist. Okay, cool.
That's my dad's new ex.
Okay, well, I think I'm ready now if you're ready, Frankie.
That
You
means Tuesday was the judgment day.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Judgment Day, Frankie. For the whole future of everything. I'm ready if you're ready, Frankie.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. Recording in progress. Man, I got dog hair in my hat. Always awesome. Okay. Hello, listeners. This is the Comedeorological Report, your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada, sucks everywhere, sucks, just plain everything sucks. Okay, that's right. The Comedeorological Report, comedy plus meteorology. Comedeorology. It's the science that I created, and by I mean myself, Joey Only, the Caribou Weather Dude here. You may be watching the live stream here at Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel, or maybe you are watching us on Rogers Television, or maybe you're listening to us on C4 88.7 FM, Prince George, CKUW 95.9 in Winnipeg, and CFPX 92.5 in Kamloops. We are here with the whole panel to talk about all the big stories and weather in the world and beyond. I'm joined here with, of course, the show of Frankie for with the show star Frankie McDonald for the 168th time. We are making a podcast together, Frankie McDonald, and we got meteorologist Mark Ingalls with us here from Surrey. We got Hilding Donaldson up there in Grassy Plains, British Columbia, and we got Karen Richards in Prince George with us so far tonight. Okay, Frankie, are you ready to go, buddy? How you doing
Yes,
so
I'm ready
far?
to go. Then you got Hurricane Raphael just struck Cuba, brought a lot of rain, high winds. Then you got some more rain in forecast in Kansas and all those places. Got a big snowstorm in New Mexico, parts of New Mexico and Colorado and all those places. Then you got a really warm air in Minnesota and all those places, and Missouri and Kentucky and Tennessee this Sunday coming up. Then you got some rain showers hitting. They got some rain hitting for Nova Scotia on Remembrance Day, and so's Vancouver, British Columbia. Then you got lots of heavy rain going other places too.
What place?
And lots of rain going on in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, New Brunswick, PEI, and all across North America. Lots of rain in Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, and all those places. It's really cold front going through North America again. There's supposed to be a huge storm later on next week all across Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, Newfoundland, Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all the way down the entire eastern seaboard of the United States late right next week.
What kind of chapstick
Because
you
of the
got,
big
Frankie?
storm vortex forming in Ontario.
What kind of chapstick was that you got, Frankie?
Lipstick. Then it got
I think that's what I got here. I don't know. I can't read. It's been so worn down because it was in my pocket during fire season.
and lots of rain going on in the eastern United States now. And Sarah is the next name storm.
Yeah, are you forecasting doom, Frankie?
And then both east and west coast, and lots of warm air, cold air fighting each other all across North America and Central America. And weather in Central America this week is lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Panama. Guatemala's gradually getting into the dry season, so is Costa Rica, El Salvador, and all those places. Still lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Honduras and all those places right now. And down South America, lots of rain, thunderstorms in Panama right now. Lots of rain, thunderstorms going on in Colombia, parts of Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, and parts of Peru. And lots of thunderstorms and rain going on in southern Brazil right now because Amazon rainforest is dry and thunderstorms fighting each other. Northern Chile is really, 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 really dry. And southern Chile is lots of rain in coast areas and snow up in the mountains in southern Chile. Then it got some warm air in Argentina right now. It's getting warmer there right now. It's getting a little bit, it's still really cold in Ocean, Argentina. It's starting to get a little bit warmer in Falkland Islands. Stanley Falkland Islands right now. There's an area high pressure system in between South America and Africa going to develop late next week as well. Weather in Europe, it's really warm air in England right now. Then it got some showers to the forecast in parts of Spain, southern France. It's dry for now in Netherlands. There's rain heading for Netherlands on Monday as well. And they got some rain heading for Germany on Monday as well. And Denmark and all those places. Then it got lots of snow next week up around the mountains of Norway, rain in coast areas of Norway. Then got really cold air in for Moscow, Russia later in the middle of the week next week. Sometime late next week, there's a big area high pressure system going to develop off the coast of Ireland. That's going to bring really cold air in Moscow, Russia, Minsk, Belarus, and all those places, Latvia, Estonia, and all those places. Then it got some next weekend, Wednesday. Then it got some thunderstorms and rain going on, developing in Italy. Then it got some showers and forecasts in Croatia, Bosnia, and all those places, and Albania, parts of Greece, and Turkey, and all those places. And Syria is really dry out right now. And lots of rain and thunderstorms. There's a typhoon just struck northern Philippines right now. Brought a lot of rain in. Indonesia right now. Japan is getting some showers in the forecast this weekend coming in Tokyo, Japan. Then it got some South Korea, lots of dry weather in South Korea right now. North Korea, Vladivostok, Russia. It's getting really cold there right now. It's really cold in Siberia right now. Including Yakutsk, Magadan, all those places. Snow in Magadan, Russia right now. Mongolia is getting colder right now. Hong Kong is drier than normal. The rain and thunderstorms are forecasting Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, Philippines, Cambodia. It's getting a little bit drier in Myanmar and Bangladesh right now. Lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in southern Indonesia right now. And India right now is really dry out right now. And Sri Lanka is rainier than normal. Thunderstorms rain in Sri Lanka. It's really got a little bit of showers for forecast in Middle East. In Northern Africa, Nigeria and Ghana gradually getting a dry season. Lots of rain thunderstorms going on in Gabon, Congo, Congo, Uganda right now. In Zimbabwe, Zambia right now. Lots of starting northern Namibia is gradually getting a rainy season. Angola is getting so much rain right now. Angola and Botswana has entered the rainy season. Mozambique has entered the rainy season. South Africa, they got really hot air in South Africa right now. Madagascar is really, and got some dry weather in Madagascar. The showers and forecast those Larune and Mauritius Islands right now. Down Australia, lots of rain in Central Australia this Saturday coming. And Perth, Australia is going to turn drier this Saturday. They got thunderstorms in the forecast with hail and tornadoes possible in South Central Australia. Places like Sydney, Australia, Brisbane, Australia, and Queensland, Australia is drier than normal. Then they got some thunderstorms in the forecast in parts of Queensland, Australia. Then they got Tasmania, they got colder temperatures right now. Then they got some lots of rain, thunderstorms, loud rain and wind going on in southern South Island, New Zealand right now. Then it gets to get drier. Then it got some showers in the forecast this weekend in Auckland, New Zealand, New Plymouth, New Zealand, Hamilton, New Zealand, Graceville, New Zealand, Gisborne, New Zealand, and Wellington, New Zealand, and New Plymouth, New Zealand as well. And then it got some more Australia, New Zealand, and Australia has officially entered the cyclone season right now. Antarctica, according to Maddie Jordan, down Antarctica, starting to get a lot of daylight right now. Soon will be 24-hour daylight in Antarctica. The last sunset up above the Arctic Circle in Barrow, Alaska is November the 18th.
Well, it'll be so nice in Antarctica soon, I bet. They just probably can't wait. Frankie, what about up in space? Is there any meteors or asteroids around up
Sometime
there?
in the second half of November, second moon's going to depart Earth.
Any comets that might, put humanity out of its misery, hopefully?
Like in different countries.
Any asteroids going to hit the Earth, Frankie?
It's going to bypass the Earth.
Oh, going to bypass the Earth altogether? No chance? No chance. Anyone on the panel got questions for Frankie McDonald about this, that, or the other?
Yes, I, of course, have a question.
Good evening, meteorologist Mark.
Good evening. Frankie, I want to hear about the hockey game you went to tonight.
Cape Breton Eagles lost against Bay Comedeorology 3-1.
But did you have fun?
Yeah, I had to leave the game in the end, the second period. I checked the scores online because I was on another podcast before I came on Comedeorological Weather Report.
How often do the Cape Breton Eagles win a game?
They won last weekend.
Yeah, once in a while, eh?
I detected a spider.
Frankie has detected a spider.
Uh-oh. Is it a space spider?
We have to pause questions for a minute here. And he's detected.
I'm keeping a close eye on him.
Frankie, how big is the spider?
It's as if there's them roaming around spiders.
Mostly spiders are beneficial and good things, and I like spiders. I have a pet spider. In fact, I was thinking about taking him in. He's been in the doorway still in the front porch, and I was thinking about putting him somewhere in the building. And he's like big fat butt and has caught a lot of bugs that would have otherwise came in my house, maybe, right? But that's me. I like all living things,
I
except
had a pet. I had a pet snake when I lived in Idaho. Just
any
this
Why?
other
little guy
questions?
that lived by our back door. He was eating the mice.
Mark, well, Frankie, you ever had a pet snake?
No.
If you had a pet snake, it might eat the spiders. And then you'll have fewer spiders. Of course, then you have the problem of having a snake, but then you just need to get a giant bird,
No, or maybe just get a cat.
She
And I'll
swallowed the
say hi to
bird.
Monica Bolio. She's doing great so far.
She swallowed the bird to catch the spider that wrinkled and tiggled and swiggled inside her. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly, but I don't know why she swallowed the fly. Perhaps she'll die. Karen, do you have a question for Frankie McDonald?
I'm not even sure. Frankie, what jersey are you wearing right now?
The Ottawa Senators jersey.
Oh,
Prince George Cougars are playing Saturday and Sunday in Prince George against the Vancouver Giants.
Yeah, that'd
yes,
be a
they
good
are.
game.
The Cougars are playing the afternoon game against Vancouver Giants on Sunday.
What I'm going to.
What?
I might even try to go live at the game.
Yeah.
You should at least get video of whatever your husband's doing.
Yeah, sometimes I don't want to.
No, it's so rich. It's like you could make a living out of just
He is such a fan. He says, wow.
crazy Cougars fan TikTok, like Hilding Donaldson, you got a question for Frankie McDonald?
Well, I wondered if he knows what the solar activity is this week. Has there been any announcements of extra solar activity this week?
Hey, Frankie, I think he's
I'm
typing.
researching it right now. On space weather, the real-time solar activity. Parts of it's cold red and yellow and green.
Any chance that could wipe out humanity?
That means, and not a chance. That means to get some few wet spots on the sun.
Well, could always hope. Could always hope.
And the sun's equator got red spots.
Is there any other questions for Frankie? What about in the comments out there? I guess not. I guess we'll move on and we'll come back to Frankie with Frankie videos here in a few minutes' time. But let's move on to meteorologist Mark Engels, who's safely in Surrey, British Columbia, where things are pretty calm. You're still only 3 kilometers from the U.S. border, buddy.
5. It's 3 miles.
Ah.
Yeah. So it's things continue to happen calmly in Surrey, British Columbia. We did have quite the windstorm on Monday. My power was knocked out for 6 hours. I think the strongest wind gust, Victoria Inner Harbor recorded a wind gust near 100 kilometers an hour. And that's like Victoria Inner Harbor is pretty sheltered. It doesn't face the open Juan de Fuca, Strait of Juan de Fuca. So that was pretty impressive. It turns out that our power outage was caused by, we got these high rises, mostly in White Rock, but somebody's balcony furniture on one of the high rises blew off onto a substation, and that knocked out power to about 3,800 customers. We were one of those customers. And have you guys ever been in a parking garage when the power is out, an underground parking garage when the power is out? Like that's some real post-apocalyptic vibes going on right there.
That's
My
It's
daughter
really not
did not
fun.
like it. My daughter was not happy.
I like to go to places like that to prepare myself.
Yes, so yeah, so we did that, and then Alicia got a new job. That's very exciting, and she just got a marketing degree, and she just got a job in that industry. So, um, we went out to Olive Garden to celebrate, um, and Olive Garden did have power, but that was a pretty incredible storm. I kind of like checked out over the weekend too. I'm back on a Minecraft kick. And so I've been playing too much of that and was kind of like vaguely aware that there was going to be a windstorm. But then I'm up at I'm up at 4 a.m. doing the weather for at work. And then the power just goes out at 6 something. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And then my coworker messages me and he's like, well, the servers in the office went down. So there's no reason for you to go there. My coworker's in Calgary. So that was pretty fun. Um, yeah, so power was out for 6 hours. We had a break midweek. We're currently in the break. In fact, it was pretty sunny this morning here, which sucks. Everyone knows that I love the rain. And the rain is coming back. Heavy rain falling up in northern British Columbia tonight and warmer temperatures. We've got an atmospheric river going on up there. So there's a flood warning out for Terrace and Prince Rupert and some other towns that I can't pronounce and won't try to. Um, but they're looking at probably storm totals around 140 millimeters. I mean, this is the time of year when this happens, right? But we've been having a pretty active storm season this fall. Part of that is because the El Nino Southern Oscillation has not switched to La Nina yet. Um, Washington, Oregon, and British Columbia typically get more fall storms when the it's called El Nino Southern Oscillation. When ocean temperatures are above average, it's El Nino. This is the Pacific near the equator. When it's below average, it's La Nina. But right now we're in neutral conditions. We are slowly going towards La Nina, but it's taking longer than was expected. And being in neutral conditions is what is most favorable for these fall windstorms in this part of the world. So we've had a very active storm season, and it's going to continue. We had this break midweek, like I said, down here in the lower mainland. The storm that is impacting northern BC will slowly slide down the coast over the next couple of days and reach the lower mainland on Saturday. Um, and then behind that, we got this huge Gulf of Alaska low coming in. We're gonna have a strong cold front sweep through British Columbia on Sunday, a little bit into Monday for like the southeast interior. Um, and then we got the post frontal showers after that. It's going to stick around until like Tuesday. I wouldn't be shocked if somewhere in BC, Washington, or Oregon we see another small tornado. We had that small tornado on the Sunshine Coast there on Monday during the same storm that I lost my power during. Um,
And I advocate that it's not that surprising, and you might have some opinions as to why.
Well, no, it's not that surprising. These types of tornadoes, we're not talking about like, supercell fat wedges that you see out on the prairies or on the U.S. plains. We're talking about these tornadoes are typically land spouts. They form in the same way as water spouts, which is in the development of a storm, like a good sized storm for this part of the world. They spin up for a few minutes. Might knock a few trees down, blow a trampoline around if it goes into a suburban neighborhood.
It
And they
could
can
launch
cause,
someone's lawn chair onto a hydro substation, knock out 3,800 people's power.
yeah, right, exactly. So like they do cause damage, but like they're not going to obliterate entire neighborhoods. These are very common in the Northwest, and before social media especially, they were vastly underreported. They still are pretty underreported. Like a lot of these happen on the Olympic Peninsula of Washington, and there's not very many people out there. A lot of these happen on Vancouver Island and on the central coast of BC. I'm certain that these happen all over the place, especially near and west of both the Coast Range and the Cascades. I know that there's some in the interior too, but like if you look at a map of the United States
But
and
the
you
amount
look
of
at all the
actual
tornado
eyes that are on
reports,
these places at any given time are
right,
very, very, very,
exactly.
very few, if any, at all, for hundreds of kilometers.
Right. So you look at a map of the US and look at all the tornado reports since 1950, and you'll notice that there's a lot more tornado reports where there are more people, you know. And there's something too, in northern Nevada, there aren't very many tornadoes in general, but also in northern Nevada, there aren't very many people. Northern Nevada gets landspouts tornadoes just like here, but they aren't reported. They do get reported more often with everybody having a camera in their pocket and the ability to post it online. But yeah, so when we talk about a tornado threat uh, in this sort of setup on Monday and Tuesday, we're talking like there may be one or two small tornadoes, only last for a few minutes, somewhere in BC, Western Washington, or Western Oregon. Like we're not talking about a huge tornado outbreak. It's just this is a weather show, and we're going to talk about interesting weather. The storm.
Well,
The
and this is
storm.
something that with these Pacific frontal storms, like we were saying, it's more common than people realize. And just because one's been caught this week, we have it to talk about. But there could be multiples and many at any given time that come down, and then a week. But if one of those trees, like we saw in that video, lands on your house, that's
Right.
considerable damage.
How many times have we said this with wildfires? It doesn't matter how light of a wildfire year it is. If your house burns down, your house burns down. Like, it's something to be aware of. You be smart. Make good choices.
What can you do? You can't move your house, and you can't.
Right.
But maybe you could look at the trees in your property and think about these things too.
Well, and you can be prepared in advance. If you have a tree that's looking like it's going to come down sometime in the next windstorm, it doesn't have to be a tornado to take down. We were just talking about 100-kilometer-an-hour wind gusts in the Victoria Inner Harbor. Like that's going to knock down trees.
And it blew a lawn chair off of a yacht
Off
there,
of a
and it landed in
high-rise.
Surrey on a hydro substation.
Yeah.
Doom, chaos, madness, dogs and cats playing with each other, mass hysteria.
Yes, exactly. The storm track's gonna probably continue to be pretty active for at least the next 2 weeks, probably longer. Looks like we're gonna get another good regional windstorm in on Wednesday, and beyond that, there's not like a strong signal for specific days, but it looks like it'll be pretty active still. And all of these storms, we don't have any representation from the prairies. All of these storms are going to cross over, add like 1 or 2 days, and it crosses over the Rockies, becomes an Alberta Clipper, and does all sorts of stuff over there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with. I'm not, but I think we have who we have tonight.
Brandon Houck's probably too busy watching Dua Lipa music videos.
Could be.
I'm messaging him now.
Think like everyone had an exhausting week. We'll come back to you, Mark. Hilding Donaldson, what's been your experience up there in Grassy Plains, out South Burns Lake there, Francois Lake?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I mean, we had too warm a weather for the snow to stay, but we had like a couple centimeters of snow a day all week. And then Wednesday morning, it all of a sudden it went from 0 to 10 degrees in a half hour's time. And then I saw a peak of 20 degrees on Wednesday. It was amazing. And at about 1 o'clock, our power went out. So I had to do some business in town. So I went down, and they couldn't even run the standby generator at the ferry landing at South Bank. Like everything on the south side was down. And so I get into town, and some businesses are open and some are closed, and it seems the power's on, but nobody's computers are working. And I talked to the guy at the Chevron station, and he says, "Well, yeah, there's at 10 o'clock Wednesday morning, there was some kind of a big explosion. The whole town heard it. And then everybody's computers started going offline. There was a big power spike, and people's breaker boxes were tripping and stuff." And then he said things started coming back online. People started getting power, but they couldn't get internet. And BC Hydro wouldn't say what happened. It was funny. Like then I was on my way home on the ferry, and the neighbor had it posted on social media that the picture of everything south of Burns Lake and a great big triangle that covered the south side was without power and nobody knew why. And BC Hydro said they're working on it. And then at 8 o'clock last night, it came back on. And then this morning, 2 or 3 times, it's just flickered off and on. So I'm not sure what happened. That's why I was wondering if there happened to be solar activity, if this is a ripple effect from a solar flare or something. But probably somebody drove into a transformer. You know what I mean?
I think there has been some solar activity, although I believe what happened there in your case was somewhere, possibly Surrey, a lawn chair was launched in the wind and landed at your substation there in near Burns Lake, and well, that was it.
Well, it reminded me of the last time I heard something similar to this was when we were having there was a big meeting going on in Vanderhoof, and I was there, and all of a sudden the lights just started surging up and down. And then power went out for about an hour and then it came back on. And we went and checked, and here some teenagers were out partying out at the substation out of town. And one of them cut a hole in the fence and walked in and was doing a light show with his hands on the side of a big transformer. And he doing like a Jacob's ladder effect off the side of the transformer and getting this big light show, and the other teenagers are all wowing him and see how big a sparks he could make. And then he got too close and the voltage actually pulled him in and he fell right against the transformer and the transformer blew up. And so the whole town was watching their power surge while this guy was there playing with the transformer until he fell into the transformer, and he had 4th-degree burns on his intestines. He died of it. Like,
wow, those teenagers and trolls, Frankie.
Like young teenagers and trolls out there. There's a lot of them out there. I got news for you. Hydro-Quebec fixed the wires near Base Guy's house. Base Guy shows come back on the air real soon.
Oh, excellent. Good. Yeah, we'll see Jack Casey real soon. So do you think it was a conspiracy, Hilding, what happened to your power there? There's a big boom, or was it doom?
I just don't know. No, Hydro won't tell us what happened, but apparently something blew a transformer somewhere.
Sounds mighty suspicious. Mark has comments about solar flares.
I don't think that it would be a solar flare related thing. There has been solar activity in the last week, but it hasn't really been anything special. And also, what really did Hydro-Quebec in 1989 was they have these really long distance power lines, and that was a very, very active storm. More active. That's the most active storm. Like, there hasn't been a more active storm since then yet. And it was the length of the power lines that they have from those dams up in in Labrador and northern Quebec, carrying it down to those cities. So we're talking power lines that are several hundred kilometers long. So I think if the solar flares were going to be causing localized issues like that, we would not be having this show right now.
Yeah, that's what I imagined too. It was just like I've seen some guys suggest that kind of stuff could come from solar flares, and I'm like, well, let's just throw that name out there and see what people think.
Yeah, those long distance lines that carry the power from like the I forget the name of the dam, but the big dam north of Prince George, that would those long distance. Yeah, those lines would, I think, be susceptible during a major solar flare event. But that would be a very, probably BC wide event rather than a localized issue.
Yeah.
Shelley wants to know, Hilding, there is pictures of steers standing chest deep in snow. How will they make out?
Well, usually we try to make sure that if there's chest deep snow, that the steers are all in a pen where they trample it down. But I haven't seen any time that it's been deep enough snow that it's caused the animals to have trouble. But when we do feed them and we have 18 inches to 2 feet of snow, or 30 to 60 centimeters of snow, we have to make sure that we make tracks with the tractor out in the field before we spread the feed out, so that they don't go drag their bellies in the snow, because it will cause hypothermia if they have to wade around in snow up to their waist. But it isn't very often that you have cows in that situation.
There you go. Some cow expertise from Hilding Donaldson up Grassy Plains. We haven't heard from Karen Richards at all so far tonight. Karen, how you doing?
I am doing not too bad.
Yeah, what's been your experience of this nice week since that subtropical flow came this week and warmed everything all up into the Caribou and near Hilding as well? It was wonderful.
So Monday was not wonderful when I woke up in the morning to
Well, not
almost 2
Monday.
inches of snow.
I mean, but after Monday.
Snow slush. That was horrible. Realized that I need new winter tires on my car. But other than that, it's been like kind of subtropical here. It felt like really lower mainland weather the last couple of days. It's been wind, rain, a lot of wind. Like yesterday has been nasty wind.
It's Thursday, November 7th. It's 7:30 p.m. right now at the time of recording, and it's 5 degrees here in Wells, BC.
Yeah, it's 8 here in Prince George.
Yeah, that's warm. It's very warm.
It was 10 to 12
last
all
week
day here.
we were below zero, hours before dark every day. Sorry, Hilding, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you weren't.
Well, and the thing to note with that too is, don't forget, you're up at 3,900 feet there, Joey. And what this is we're all down here. I think we did like 13 or 14 down here today. We're all south of the atmospheric river. We're on the warm side of that cold front right now. And so all that warm air is being pulled up by the southerlies ahead of the front.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Although 5 degrees, I did make one mistake tonight, and that I did not fill the wood stove up before recording, before hitting record, right? So,
Nice.
yeah, what it means is, at some point here, I may have to load my wood stove quite quickly before the coals get out.
You're gonna have to
That's what-
stock it up before the night.
That's when the show gets really crazy. When we tell our hot gossip about Joey only.
Or that's when I put on the Frankie videos of the week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, you are, if you're just tuning in, this is the Comedeorological Report, Comedy plus Meteorology, your show about how much the weather sucks. I am your host, Joey Only, here in Wells, BC, joined with meteorologist Mark, world's greatest weatherman ever of all time, totally, completely, 100%, Frankie McDonald, plus Cowboy Hilding Donaldson, and moderator from Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers Facebook group here in BC, Karen Richards. Caribou Outlaw says solar flares affect the HF radio frequencies from 150 kilohertz up to the 2-meter VHF frequencies at 144 megahertz, but not tonight, as I have conditions on the AM broadcast band right now from the Lower Mainland.
Oh yeah, I'm a ham radio operator, as are several of my family members, and my stepdad was working the 40 meters band, which is like shortwave, and he was using WinLink, which is a system where you hook up your computer to your radio and then you can send emails. So like he was sending an email via radio. It left his home in Bend, Oregon, went to somewhere in Northeast Oregon. He was doing a very vertical bounce to do this. And then it hit the internet and went to my phone, and he was sending me pictures and stuff. Even the HF bands have been very active. I don't have room for an HF radio here, unfortunately, but one of my favorite things to do when I was in college, I'd go up into the radio room there. I was the president of the ham radio nerds, and we would scan around and listen for the propaganda broadcasts on shortwave. And so like we one time I caught the North Koreans broadcasting in French. This would certain frequencies, especially in the shortwave, will bounce off the ionosphere, which is a layer in the atmosphere. And what it'll happen is it'll bounce off the ionosphere and then bounce off the Pacific Ocean and bounce, I don't know how many times, and then it would hit us in Idaho. And so I did that. I caught Cuban spy stations. They still, like the Cubans, still send out just these random numbers and words. And then every spy that they have has a book that says, well, this number means this and this series of whatever means this. And that was always very fun to listen to. And it's very like it's very low tech, but a lot of spy agencies have started doing this because they've discovered that no digital encryption is safe from being broken. And so when they broadcast, sorry, I'm really deep down a tangent now, and this is like bordering on conspiracy theory. But when they broadcast when they just broadcast towards, say, the Pacific Northwest, they know the U.S. and the Canadians know. Well, this is obviously coming from Cuba, but they don't know who's listening to it and who has the book.
Right.
I am currently studying to get my ham radio license here in Canada. This is a new thing for me. Yeah, like my grandpa did it. He was a total ham radio operator. So I got my book. I'm studying for my license, and yeah, hope it goes well.
I think it's really useful. I had a really sustained power outage when I lived in Idaho, and the temperature that night, it was the middle of December, and the temperature that night was going to be like -15. We didn't have wood heating in the house, and popped on my ham radio and quickly found out that a squirrel got caught in a substation. I have really bad luck with substations, guys. But like this was really simple, but also like I have there's the common conception of ham radio is a bunch of old dudes sitting on the radio just talking to each other, and this definitely happens, and I've done that. I've hit Japan and Chile and Argentina and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's also like you can send text messages or like the emails and sending pictures that my stepdad did earlier this week. It looks like Joey has something.
Looks like we got us a convoy. You can say that
What
on
do
there,
you
too.
have?
I got to fill my wood stove. But
No, but that's
very
what you
interesting-
say on the radio.
Very interesting ham radio conversation. Yes, very interesting stuff. I'm enjoying this.
We
Taking my mind off of the inescapable horrors of humanity.
yes. Well, we would we had a repeater on the campus there in Idaho. And so what you do is you talk into it on one frequency and then it sends it out on another frequency. So you talk on one and listen on the other. And we would send memes to each other twice a month. We'd hook up our radios to our computers and we'd just send dank memes for an hour. All of us, we all took turns. And it was just great. You can do like position tracking with ham radio. I've got a buddy who extends the distance that his drone can go using ham radio. The 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band is, at least in the US, it probably is in Canada too, is a ham radio band. And so there's in the Puget Sound region in Washington, there's a group of people who have put up these internet connected nodes. And if all you need is your laptop plugged into an antenna pointing at the node, and you can get internet wherever in the Puget Sound region if you have a ham radio license. Because if you're just a normie, your Wi-Fi is limited on how much power it can transmit. But if you have a ham radio license, and in the US, probably the same as Canada, the rules are very similar, but don't take it as gospel. You can transmit 4,000 watts, and that'll get you Wi-Fi all over the place.
I remember back in the day with my grandfather. He was living in a place in Burnaby. So Burnaby, of course, Mark, you might kind of know now, is like really, really populated. And he put up a massive, massive antenna in his property because he was a ham radio operator and he wanted to broadcast everywhere.
Yeah,
So
well,
that,
and
like it was massive, like antenna in Burnaby, houses like this close together all the time.
yeah, and
And
some of the
yeah,
stratas don't like that very much, but I think it's neat. We also in Idaho, I went to school for a time in East Idaho. There was my church had an emergency preparedness thing set up where they had the same it wasn't internet connected, but it was on the Wi-Fi band, and they had a node in Rexburg, a node in Yukon, a node in Idaho Falls, all the way down to Pocatello and whatever, and you could get on this. And if you have a ham radio license, like it would literally, if you're sitting on campus, it would show up in the Wi-Fi options, broadband hamnet, and nobody knew what it meant. And since it wasn't connected to the internet, nobody used it. But if you knew the URL to type into your computer, you would hit the group chat in your browser. And so we'd get on there and just mess around because the church ran this system, but nobody ever used it because how often is there an emergency in Idaho? Not since the Teton Dam failed so long ago. Um, you can do so much. Like the opportunities are endless on ham radio. I haven't done as much as I would like to, but it really is just, and especially for people living in rural areas, like my power went out, my internet was down, my phone still worked, but if it didn't and I had an emergency, I could get on my radio and get to somebody.
Yeah.
There's this guy in Willits, California named Dan Robertson. He's put out this show for many, many years, like over 20 years, well over. Because I remember listening to the Shortwave Radio Report back in 2002. The Shortwave, or maybe 2003, 2002. The Shortwave Radio Report's this program that he puts out on his website, outfarpress.com. And what he does is he listens to radio from around the world on the shortwave band, and then he takes the news segments from all over the world and compiles them into a half-hour radio show that is, there to be broadcast on. There's many college stations and things like that you might find the Shortwave Radio Report on, but it's always very interesting because it's from countries from around the world, and if you're only paying attention to like the way the American news feed works, in comparison, like what they call news there, which is often like a talk show full of opinion piece with very little actual news, right? But when you look at like how news is created and broadcast all around the world, there's so many different ways of looking at things and different takes. One thing that I was really thinking about this last few days too is how concerned I am for the environmental future. And, we're already came into 2024 with some real big challenges ahead of us environmentally.
And yes, I sent you the videos.
Yes, Frankie, and I got your videos lined up. We are going to watch them in just a couple minutes. There's a couple things I wanted to talk to, because I got Mark here as well. When you look at 2023, Hello. We don't have the State of Global Climate 2024 report yet. That's yet to be written because 2024 hasn't finished. But if we kind of look back at last year, where 2023 was, again, the warmest year on record at 1.45 plus 0.012 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average. How do you think we're faring on planet Earth this year?
Well, we're gonna beat that again this year. I mean, the state of the environment is not great. We for a long time lived in harmony with the environment, and we do with modern technology, we've really detached ourselves from the impacts of the environment. And for good or for bad, obviously a lot, like we wouldn't be having this show without it. But this is the reality of our times. I just saw research this week talking about how microplastics are helping develop cloud formation, like more cloud formation than would be expected, especially in desert regions and high altitude regions. And this is because for water to condense, it needs something to grab onto. And so usually that's some particle of dust or something, dead skin cells, you know. But we got enough microplastics in the air now that this is doing it. And it, you know, we could talk about it at the global level, but we could talk about it at the local level too, you know. In places like Houston, Texas, they build suburban neighborhoods in bayous, which are like kind of these like swampy creeks,
Yeah, they drain
and
it out.
they drain it out, and they don't realize the reason why Houston didn't flood as much 50 years ago is because all these creeks were serving their flood, like they were still part of the waterway. And so, you know, I think it's just important. People need to be more conscious of what's going on. I need to be more conscious of what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm pretty conscious myself. But um, you know, I just can't help but get the feeling that like every time we find something that we feel like is going to help, it turns out that it has some other side effect. And I don't know how to reconcile that, you know. I just don't. I have a bachelor's degree in meteorology. I'm not a engineer. I'm not, you know, a chemist. Like I don't know how to reconcile that.
Well, and
But I
73
do
million
think we can
people
prepare.
apparently are fine at the minimum in the States are fine to say, well, we don't care.
Mhm.
Right. Well, and a lot of people miss the nuance of the situation. Um, and you know, everything in this world has nuance, and a lot of people miss it, and by missing it, they just brush it off, you know. Everything in this world has nuance, and like I don't think people can reasonably expect to be informed on every major issue very well. But you know, you can take a nibble here, take a nibble there, try to get a picture of what's going on. I think as people, we just, you know, need to be um we need to be more responsible with the environment in general, but also with people around us. You know, we need to be more conscious of um what we're seeing. Somebody I was talking with somebody about how well the whatever, like voting something or other, but they were talking about how um for women experiencing abusive relationships, it can be very hard to have a truly secret vote. And like it was just a reminder to me that like when I'm out at the grocery store or something and somebody's being a little, you know, being a little extra, like I don't know what's going on. I
Yeah.
don't know. That's my 2 cents. Like we and this I've been thinking about this a lot in the last year just in general. Like how how do we get to a place where we're just being better people to those around us, including the environment, but also including the people around us? Um, I've tried to be better, but like I'm not perfect, you know, especially when I'm driving. Like I hate every car on the road is somebody that I hate when I'm driving, and I need to get better about that too. And like, you know, it's a conscious decision to just be better. And it's something that we all work on our entire lives.
It should be
One of
the
the big
goal of
things that
humanity, and it feels like they've given up. Concentrations of carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide reached record levels in 22, probably did in 2023. No reason to think they won't again in 2024. So we're up over 420 parts per million for carbon in the atmosphere. Ocean heat content in 2023 reached its highest level in the 65-year observational record. I'm sure we smashed through that this year. Global sea level
We may
rise.
not have smashed through that this year, actually. That one we're pretty steady, so we'll be close. We were so far above the like years previous. We were so far above in 2023, and this year we're about where we were in 2023. So we are still very far above even what we'd seen in 2022. But I don't know that we'll beat out 2023 for ocean heat content.
Sea level rise reached record high. Antarctic sea ice extent reached an absolute low in February of 2023. Antarctic, I should say. The annual maximum extent of 1 million kilometers squared, below the previous record low maximum. Preliminary data. Largest loss of ice on record from 1950 to 2023. Glaciers in Switzerland lost 10% of the remaining volume in the past 2 years. Extreme weather continued to lead to severe socioeconomic impacts, says United Nations, World Meteorological Organization. Extreme heat affected many parts of the world. Wildfires in Canada, Europe, Hawaii led to loss of life, destruction of home, large-scale air pollution. Flooding associated with extreme rainfall, Mediterranean. Cyclone Daniel affected Greece, Bulgaria, Turkey, Libya, particularly heavy loss of life in Libya. Food security, population displacement, and impacts on vulnerable populations continue to be of mounting concern in 2023, with weather and climate hazards exacerbating the situation in many parts of the world. And we can add to that the threat of war on top of, the poverty situation, climate situation. We're in a bad place for humanity right now.
Well, and like in everything, it's always the poor that take the brunt of it. I grew up poor.
And is it time for Frankie videos?
I think it's time for Frankie videos. Okay, buddy. It's 10 minutes to the end of the show, so it's time to go on that. Give me 1 second, Frankie. I have to remember how to they've changed Zoom a little bit this week, and I'm a little confused on it, but here we go. I still got to set it up here for a second.
Hey, everybody, here's my...
Here we go.
Hey, everybody, here's my November 2024 update for my world tour. Once I go on the world tour, I'll be going to every single country in the world. I'll be visiting all 10 Canadian provinces and all 3 territories. I'll be visiting all 50 U.S. states, including the United States territories. I'll be visiting and performing on stage. I'll be performing on stage and doing skits, comedy skits, and doing speeches and doing weather reports, dancing and doing comedy skits on stage. As part of my world tour, I'll be going to Mexico, I'll be going to Guatemala, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Honduras, and Panama. I'll be going to a lot of countries down South America like Venezuela, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, Chile, Brazil, Argentina, and Falkland Islands. I'll be going to every country in Europe like England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Isle of Man, and Ireland. And I'll be visiting a lot of countries in Europe like France, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Poland, Belarus, Russia. I'll be visiting Portugal. I'll be visiting Bosnia, Croatia, Albania, Greece, Turkey, Romania, Bulgaria, Serbia, Latvia, Estonia, Norway, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, and all those countries as well. I'll be visiting Indonesia, Philippines, Cambodia, Singapore, Malaysia. I'll be visiting Japan, South Korea. I'll be visiting Papua New Guinea as well. I'll be visiting all those countries. As part of my world tour, I'll be going to a lot of countries around the world performing on stage. It will not be a vacation, it'll be for work for me. For my world tour, I'll be going to a lot of countries around the world, including South Pacific countries including Thailand, Cambodia, Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, and all those countries, including Namibia, Angola, South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique, Madagascar, La Réunion, and Mauritius Islands, and all those places. I'll be performing on stage and giving those speeches and doing weather reports and dancing on stage. In both indoor venues and outdoor venues in every country in the world. I'll also be visiting Australia, New Zealand, and Vanuatu, New Caledonia, and Fiji Islands, and all those places, and British South Pacific tropical islands, things like this. On the world tour, I'll need an agent, I'll need a manager, I'll need an accountant, I'll need a pilot, I'll need a logistics, I'll need a sound crew, I'll need an engineer, I'll need a lot of people for my world tour. I'll be going to every country on the planet. I'll need so many people. I need security and things like this. Then I'll be traveling to every single country in the world. I'll be going to so many countries non-stop. Will not be once. It'll be never-ending world tour. They'll be visiting those countries multiple times. It's going to be a never-ending world tour for me. I'll need catering. I'll need a lot of people as well. I'll be traveling to every country on the planet. For my world tour, I'll be giving out speeches, dancing on stage, doing comedy skits on stage. I'll be going to every country on the planet. For my world tour, I'll need a red carpet. I'll need a lot of things on my world tour. I'll need a red carpet for sure. Going to every country in the world, every nation in the world, every continent in the world. For my world tour, I'll be visiting to every single country ever on the face of the planet Earth. Plus, I'll be going up to space one of these days. On my world tour, I'll be going to so many countries. I'll need a pilot. I'll need a lot of crew members and mechanics and things like this. I'll need a lot of people traveling around the world for my world tour. That is my November 2024 world tour update for Frank Dowd.
You didn't mention Turkmenistan, Frankie.
Hey everybody, it's Frankie McDonald. And up north in the winter months, and after November 18th, daylight is no more until January 23rd every year. People up north can get LED RGB color changing lights. Especially people living up at Klugeltuck, Nunavut, and in Iqaluit, Nunavut, and Greasefjord, Nunavut, and Resolute Bay, Nunavut. They could get the lights can change all different colors, 60 million colors. It's great to have for people working at Antarctic research stations and people up in Svalbard, Norway, and people in Barrow, Alaska after November 18th when it's dark 24 hours a day up above the Arctic Circle. These are the good color changing lights you have. They can change all different colors and things like this. These are great ones. Lights can change all different colors.
What about Turkmenistan?
Especially for people living up in remote areas up north, including Siberia, northern Norway, northern Finland, and northern Sweden, and all those places. And Greenland's part of Denmark. It gets dark 24 hours a day up above the Arctic Circle in Greenland, part of Denmark. Those lights that can change all different colors. These lights can change in all different colors, especially people who live in remote areas up north and up above the Arctic Circle in Klugeltuck, Nunavut, in Iqaluit, and Goja, Hafen, and Rankin Inlet, and all those places, including Inuvik, Northwest Territories, and Tatoyatuck, Northwest Territories, and Resolute Bay, Nunavut, and surrounding areas, including Antarctic research stations such as McMurdo stations when it's dark 24 hours a day in the end of May and June, July. Including up at McMurdo Station, down at McMurdo Station, Amundsen Scott Silk Bowl Station, and Palmer Station, and Scott Station, Antarctica, and things like this.
That's so many
It's
colors.
great. Light bulbs can change 60 million colors. It's an LED, RGB, light bulbs. That can change a lot of different colors.
Look at it.
Especially people living in remote areas. And when it's dark 24 hours a day up above the Arctic Circle. Including up in Nunavut territory. Even Rankin Inlet, Nunavut, when it's dark 24 hours a day up there too. And Klugeltuck, Nunavut, and those surrounding areas as well. For people living up north, those lights can change a whole different colors. Especially people living up north and things like this.
Oh, it's quite the lights you got.
And Barrow, Alaska, and Nome, Alaska, and surrounding areas. Including Greenland, part of Denmark, and Iceland, and all those places. And northern Norway, and things like this. And up above the Arctic Circle, down below Antarctic Circle, especially research people in Antarctica.
16 million.
Best luck to you. I'm Frank Down. This is Frankie McDonald, my own TV station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Powerful storm is headed towards Vancouver Island on Monday, November 4th, 2024. Winds are going to be really, really strong. It's going to cause big waves crash on beaches, shores, including Tofino, British Columbia, and the west coast of Vancouver Island, including Port Renfrew, British Columbia, Sauk, British Columbia, Victoria, British Columbia, Sanders, British Columbia, Colbert, British Columbia, including Ladysmith, British Columbia, Duncan, British Columbia, Nanaimo, Brecksville, Pueraboni, Quebec Beach, Courtney, Comox, Campbell River, Port Neal, Port Hardy, British Columbia. Winds are going to be really strong. There'll be wind-driven rain, sideways rain in Vancouver Islands, including Nanaimo and Victoria, British Columbia. I want every single person to be prepared. Make sure you have your rubber boots, raincoats, rainsuits ready. When you go outside, wear your rain gear, rubber boots, raincoats to keep you dry. Don't walk through the puddles. Avoid the puddles and go for a walk. It's going to be too windy for umbrella as well. Stay away from the beaches and don't go near the shores of Vancouver Island as well, including Victoria, British Columbia, Nanaimo, Port Hardy, British Columbia as well. If everybody live in Vancouver Island, be prepared for a powerful storm on Monday, November 4th, 2024. Take care, stay safe, and don't get caught in a powerful storm. Stay dry and be safe.
Yeah, you sure got that one right.
There's this snowstorm headed towards Medicine Hat, Alberta on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Temperature's going to get really cold. It's going to be really windy with snow and blowing snow. The winds are going to be really strong. That's going to cause snow drifts. And streets, roads, highways, and Trans-Canada Highway will be snow covered. So is Crow's Nest Highway will be snow covered as well in Medicine Hat. And the surrounding areas, the winds are going to be really strong. That's going to cause blowing and drifting snow. Reduced visibility, dangerous, treacherous driving conditions as well. I urge everyone to wear your winter gear, winter boots with jackets, hats, and gloves, scarves, ski pants ready. Order your pizzas and Chinese food, buy cases of Pepsi, buy cases of Coke. Do your grocery shopping, don't wait till last minute. Do it right now. Make sure your cell phones, laptops, and tablets charged. Have your mobile internet ready as well. Have your heat pumps ready to keep the house warm. Have your furnaces ready to keep the house warm. Drink lots of green tea, white tea, red tea. Drink lots of green tea to keep you warm. Make sure you have your shovels, snow scoops, snow blowers, snow plows, and salt trucks ready as well. Have your extra blankets ready as well. If everybody living in Medicine Hat, Alberta, be prepared for snowstorm on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Take care, stay safe. Don't get caught in a snowstorm. Stay warm, be safe. That's our Brandon Helkes close to Medicine Hat.
Yeah, Brooks is not far from there. He got some of that snow, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. He's not here to talk about it, but, well, that's
and
okay.
then here's one more video about the vampire.
Well, I think we're already at 8 o'clock, but I put that video in last week's show, Frankie.
If you want to follow me on social media, my blue skies at Frankie MacD. My threads is at Frankie MacDonald, Frankie MacD 1984. My Twitter's at Frankie MacD 1984, now X. And my Linktree is Frankie MacDonald. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is Frankie MacD 1984. My TikTok is Frank Don 1984. My Clapper is Frank Don 1984. My Twitch is Frank Don 1984. My Snapchat is Frankie MECDON. My YouTube channel is Talks Rules, and my link is Frank MacDonald. Best luck to you. I'm Frank Don. You're listening to Comedeorology Weather Report every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic.
That's right, and I'm Joey Only up here in Wells, British Columbia. We also had meteorologist Mark Hilding Donaldson. We had Karen Richards with us tonight. Nice show, real nice show. You heard us on CFR 88.7, CKUW 95.9, and CFPX 925, and Prince George, Winnipeg, Kamloops. Rogers Television viewers, thanks very much for having us on once again, everybody. Stay safe out there.
That's the show.
I believe that is the show, Frankie.
That's the show.
I think we have quorum, eh? Okay, that's the show.
Did they
Bye
press
now.
recording? That means the next step is going to edit it.
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow morning, Frankie.
That means they'll be on the air again.
It will. Yeah.
When is it going to be on cable access TV?
I don't know exactly what the scheduling.
It's on Sundays.
Like, I don't know if. I think this will be on Sunday, but I'm not sure if that's always how it's worked. I don't know.
They show older meteorological weather reports on cable access TV, like the past. Your past podcast.
That's the thing. Sometimes they'd be like a week behind, I think, back in the day.
I see.
And I think that may have changed because they like us so much. I think Paul's getting onto it like first thing in the morning on, or first thing Friday afternoon or whatever from the sounds of it last time because he was watching it
They
when I was
have.
live streaming it.
Did they show repeats of the previous episodes of Comical Report on Rogers TV in Vancouver Island?
They most certainly would if I was gone away fighting fires a lot this summer like I was the year before. We went months the last year where I wasn't available.
They show repeats on Rogers TV.
Like I had
Imogen told me the show is on Sundays at 8 p.m. Pacific on Rogers on Vancouver Island.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
That means
Frankie,
did they show last year's episodes on that?
Frankie, you brought in a viewer from Reddit.
What?
Yeah, you got somebody in here from your subreddit. I didn't even know you had one.
Yeah.
You know,
Very
what's going to
popular,
happen
man.
is we're going to become like the Joe Rogan of weather.
Yeah, except I don't think Rogers.
Frankie's
would be,
gone. As soon
He's
as I
gone.
said that.
I don't think Rogers would be very happy about you smoking weed on their television, though.
No, it's true. And even YouTube doesn't like that very much.
Yeah,
But,
right.
I never
right.
really
We
watched
don't-
Joe, so I didn't realize he actually smokes weed on the air.
I just know from that Elon Musk meme.
Right. Whereas generally at this time, when everyone's talking, there's a big hope when there's like 10 people in the panel and everyone's talking, that's when I go around the corner and rip a bong and like,
I know Hilding's said something back there.
yeah,
Hilding,
well,
you had thoughts about what we were talking about earlier. I want to hear them.
which
mean
is
me?
that?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking that, you were talking about how much we need to consider what our impact is on other people. One of the biggest problems we're looking at is that politics is not based on trying to please the common person. They're trying to please the people that pay for the politics. And then you have the problem that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You have the problem that, okay, politics will go out there and show a big court case and accuse somebody, and now they've made an accusation, and everybody looks at that and they steer everything in one direction. And really, every last thing we do has an impact in some way on it. It's not that there is one specific culprit out there. There's one specific company that's spewing too much CO2 into the atmosphere. It's not that one farmer out there is raising too many cows. It's the fact that, okay, every little thing needs to be considered in what we do from here on, not in what we have done in the past.
Well, no one wants to do that considering.
No, and that's the biggest problem. We're always going to have a problem unless that happens, unless somebody actually does it.
Here's a
Well,
statement.
I'm gonna dip out because early mornings.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I got a 4
No
a.m.
problem.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mark.
It
I
was
just
a
like
good
this
one.
first line. The first line. The Democratic Party abandoned the working class, and the working class has abandoned them.
Yep.
I think that's the truth.
But probably that's a good thing about the truth, that they both abandon each other rather than one being abandoned and the other one's squeaking all the time. It's
So
good
I
that
don't
we
know if-
notice.
I don't know if the will exists to constantly better things. And that's the horrifying and terrifying realization I had this week that I've had many times in my life, but I kept hoping I was wrong, like I felt this way since I was a kid, since the first time, in the 80s growing up near Trenton, and someone's talking about, well, they'll nuke Trenton first. I'm like, what does that mean when you're 7 years old?
Yeah, no, I've been going through this all
And
my
then
life
thinking,
too.
holy fuck, you people are crazy. How did you let this happen?
Yeah.
And since the time I was very little, I kept hoping I was wrong. And the fact that we haven't annihilated each other with nuclear weapons yet
It's just amazing
sometimes
that it hasn't
lulls me into
happened.
thinking that maybe I am wrong. But when I see the state of the climate and then I see that people are just angrily saying, we don't care,
Yeah.
let it happen.
That's what gets scary when people say we don't care when there's actually things they could do. And yet I get accused of saying that when I do things that I know might have some impact, but the alternative is going to have just as much impact. And I'm like, this is crazy. If I haul garbage to our landfill here, indiscriminately just haul everything plastic to the landfill, and half of it burns up at the landfill because the guy there doesn't watch the burn barrels that get dumped in the dumpster, and then the dumpster has to get hauled the whole way to Terrace, which is going to cause a truck making pollution hauling it the way to Terrace. Why am I hauling one bag of garbage that I could burn in a hot fire and it might make a tiny little bit of fumes? Whereas I know that in there and it's going to make more pollution by them trying to take care of it.
I know that farmer logic, and I've been somewhere remotely and was like, wow, well, I think the best thing we can do with this plastic is to actually burn it.
Yes.
You know, and there's been the farmer time. I've had to do that as a farmer, bushman before, but also like working for parks when we're at the very back of Bowron and we recover a bunch of kayaks people smashed in the Caribou River. Yeah. It's like, well, how are we going to get these out of the back country? And I said, we're not.
But the thing is,
we're going to call a helicopter in and burn, you know, hundreds of liters, thousands of liters of jet fuel.
But there's another thing about it too. When you burn plastic, if you are careful how you burn it, you don't make a big pile of wet leaves and put some plastic in it and try to burn it and make it smolder. It's going to let the actual plastic particulates go into the air. You want to burn the plastic hot enough that it melts it down into its oil and burns the oil off and gives off the least amount of.
I don't think we should be giving people tips on how to burn plastic. But the overall point I'm making is that you need to have the political will to make a change. It's like we can't reduce everything to like, it's my fault how, you know, it's like, yeah, I get it. We all each are contributing some, but if there's no political will to find a better way, no social reward for doing so, there's no economic benefit to those who are who have the capacity and the means to fix some of these problems. You know, and I call bullshit on a guy like Elon. Sure, the Teslas are electric, and it's good that it helped nudge things, I guess.
Have you seen the pictures of the lion in Chile that killed 200,000 people?
You know, I can see some positives to it. At the same time, you know, the Tesla truck, it's done more to discredit the idea of electric vehicle than propel it forward. These things are absolute fucking garbage piles.
Yeah. Have you looked into
you can cut your hand off if you can cut your hand off if you get stuck in the door.
Have you looked into Edison Motors?
Pardon me?
Have you looked into Edison Motors?
No.
That's a guy in BC that he's building trucks that use a small engine and generator to charge the batteries, and they're electric, and he's building logging trucks. And he's overcoming all of the stupid stuff that was built into the Tesla trucks. He's making a really good combination truck that makes tiny, tiny amounts of emissions by having a small diesel engine running a generator.
Yeah.
And the truck has more power than most of the diesel trucks on the road. And I'm like, this guy's really into it. I mean, like, he's using the technology the way it should be used, rather than just going and saying, hey, I got some new technology, everybody should use it, and throw it out there.
Well, you hear these people are like, well, electric vehicles in the industry, that's crazy. You know, no one could possibly do that. Then these underground miners are like, they've been
doing it for 50, 60 years.
We have to, otherwise we'll die from asphyxiation down in the hole.
Yeah. And so, but the idea, like, I mean, to take it to off-road trucking, but to build it not totally dependent on some big fat electrical system that's out there, but make your own electricity in a small way to make the truck more efficient. That makes a lot of sense.
The will is not there to, I don't know. I feel like all my worst fears just keep being
They're just
confirmed over
piling
the
up on
years.
us, aren't they?
Yeah, well, there's the unnamed thing still, too, that we hit this point where the carbon and methane sinks in the permafrost, but not just the permafrost. These
Right.
places where there's the mouth of rivers and stuff, where there's lots of sediment and stuff that's sitting there, kind of organic matter.
Yeah.
These carbon sinks and methane sinks are releasing now.
Mm-hmm.
And it leads me to believe, I'll be realistic about this. The end of the ice age was an inevitability.
Mm-hmm.
I think humans have actually been, from the time that there was enough of us making campfires and burning off forests, we've already been incrementally upping things. It's been going on for 10,000 years.
Oh, yeah.
But what happened was 300 years ago, we suddenly started go, poof, let's burn 1 million tons of coal
Yeah.
all over the place. And we began to see instantly a change from the cold phase of the 1600s in which people were skating on the River Thames and in Holland.
Yeah.
You can see paintings of that.
Yeah.
And poof, just a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
It was probably inevitable that we'd hit this point at which we'd have these short bursts of releases.
Mm-hmm. That would cause big dramatic changes over a short period of time.
For at least 50 years or something when they first go up or whatever, the whole lifespan of methane in the atmosphere is or whatever, right? So temporary warming
Yeah.
effect.
What I'm thinking is like this. I'm thinking that there have been warm and cold cycles like this in the past, and there wasn't the volume of people living on the earth, nor the amount of amenities that people have today that they rely on for it to make the impact that people had it written down in history that we know about it. And now
there's some of that, Hilding, but what we also know because of ice core sampling is that this is the highest level of carbon in the atmosphere in the last million years. We're sure of that. So there's been periods where it got much colder than this. We've had several ice ages over that million-year time. Absolutely. But what's going on now is something different. They run away. No one cares. And the new administration that's coming into power, their plan is, it's. I got to show you these guys.
Yeah.
Let me
stick your head back in the sand and pretend it didn't happen. I know.
Let me show you these guys. I got a photo of them because I think this is an important picture.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a whole stage full of assholes.
Yeah.
So here's this guy in the middle. He's a clown.
Yeah.
What he's here to do is just mystify you, baffle you with bullshit, get the public angry, put on a sideshow, be the entertainment.
Yeah.
It's some of these guys, Vance and whoever this fuck is, and this douche, and here's his kids, and here's some other extremists, and these are the guys behind that have the Project 2025 vision. Which has many crazy things in it, such as deregulating the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Yeah.
Right. These guys, and it was much the same in the time of George Bush. W. Bush said this guy, Dick Cheney. And George Bush was kind of just the clown that fucking, hey, everybody, I'm George W. Bush. And people hated him or they loved him or, there is, all this reaction, but he was like the focal point of everything, right? George W. Bush. He did a lot of just waving and being funny.
Yeah.
And here comes Frankie back. Did a lot of just waving and being funny, things like that, Well, Dick Cheney sat in the background in Rumsfeld and they, plan how to seize the assets of oil in the Middle
Then it
East.
got a lot of editing to do in a Comedeorological weather report. Then the next thing is editing the video. And things like this, Monica's still watching it, and Hilding's doing great. Hilding has joined Comedeorological weather report. How many years now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a year 2 or at least for you, Hilding, hey?
Yeah, I started in March of 22, I think.
Coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
I know I'm almost ready to put a pizza in my oven. What'd you have for supper tonight, Frankie?
I already for supper tonight. What I have for supper tonight, I have bologna and potatoes.
Bologna and potatoes. Sounds
Mm.
good, actually, for some reason. I'm like kind of jealous of that. Yesterday, I had a really big bacon cheeseburger at Diggy's Diner here. Frankie, it
And
was really good.
Monica, I found out Monica still lives in Bonaventure, Quebec. She's doing great so far.
Yeah, you think the
Mm.
world of Monica, don't you, Frankie?
She's doing great so far. Monica's doing really well.
That's
That's
good.
good. I've not been doing very well, Frankie, but I'm glad other
And
people
Monica's in
are.
Bonaventure, Quebec. And Bass Guy's going to get a show back together. Her Bass Guy's best friend Patrick Macca of Sky Universe said they just fixed the power in Bass Guy's house from 1950 till 2024. Bass Guy's best friend Pat told me that. Bass Guy told Pat, and Pat told me.
Mhm.
Debbie sure put him out of business for a long time, didn't it?
Patrick Macca and lives in Montreal, Quebec, and Bass Guy's other best friend Stefan. He lives in Slovakia.
Mhm.
Yeah. When we thought, was Frankie gonna get hit by Debbie? No, Bass Guy is, and he sure did, didn't he? It was a big flood, wasn't it, Frankie?
The big flood in Montreal ruined a lot of his equipment. He's repaired guitars and things like this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One time when I was in Vancouver, I lived in this basement apartment, and it was snowing really hard, and then it started to rain and snow, and then what happened was the sewers got kind of clogged up, and all of a sudden the water table, and we're just sitting in the basement.
That means people in those areas have to get a weeping tile to block the flood.
Yeah, well, I was just sitting there in the basement, and all of a sudden water started coming out of this little drainage pipe, and then all of a sudden the basement started filling up with water right
I
in front
remember
of us.
my basement didn't get flooded when Sydney, Nova Scotia had 224 millimeters of rain in one storm for Hurricane Matthew, October 10th, 2016.
Did
Oh
it do a
yeah.
lot of damage to your place, Frankie?
No damage to my place. It had a weeping tile. My bedroom was safe.
Well,
That's
that's
good.
good.
That's good. Yeah. Well, we had all the downstairs was also the jam room for the Outlaw Band, our rehearsal space. So I had to pick up all the amps and guitars and put them up on top of things.
Yeah.
You know, I
Bass
was
guy, and the bass guy show is definitely going to be back on the air soon.
Well, that's good.
he probably has lots of new songs to play and stuff. I guess, eh? He's had months to think about what to do with his next incarnation of Bass Guy, and he's so smooth how he runs his show. Like it's really
He got
nicely done.
That means he got a lot of work to do, testing equipment, test interview people, me, Savan, and Patrick. Then after this, and once it goes public again, once the Bass Guy Show returns to public, you'll be seeing me on Bass Guy Show once again.
Yeah, it's like I
That'd be
make a show.
nice.
It's like so basic, you know. But he makes a show. It like looks like a TV producer is putting it on.
Mhm.
And that means that the Bass Guy have to test the equipment, but it's going to be a test shows. It's only me, Bass Guy, Patrick, and Stefan to watch it. And that means then after a while, then it goes public.
Mhm.
Right. The same episode, or is that test episode just to?
Just the test equipment, that is all.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I never do things like that. And that's why the quality of my product is always poor.
Uh,
Just keep it basic. I guess that's
yeah.
what I'm good at. No
That
special
means
effects around here.
today's show, Comedeorological Weather Report from January 2024 and February 2024 on the Rogers TV in Vancouver Island.
Yeah, we're
Mhm.
coming up on how many years now, Frankie? Is this season 4 coming up that we're gonna start?
Yeah, we're finishing up to season 3.
Yeah, we're coming on to season 4 here now, aren't we? I
Yeah.
guess
When's
that'll
the,
start officially on January 1st, I guess, right?
when's the season finale of Comedeorology season 3?
I would think the end of the year because we kind of started the show in January originally, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Or maybe it was very end of December or something like that, right? So
You should get Hank to redo his introductory song.
That means December the 19th will be the last Comedeorological weather report before Christmas Day.
yeah, it is. It is. I wonder. I haven't looked at a calendar for, and Christmas is coming soon, isn't it? I mean,
December
everywhere.
19th will be the last Comedeorological weather report before Christmas Day and before Santa Claus's arrival.
Oh, and we fall on Boxing Day. The
Mhm.
next Thursday does.
Yeah.
So the final show of the year, the final episode of season 3, Frankie, will be on the 26th of December. Should we choose to have a December 26th show?
Mm-hmm.
It may be difficult for whatever reason because of everyone's lives. We may decide to take a week off. I don't know.
December 19th could be Trey's final stand-up comedy, or sometime in December will be Trey's final stand-up comedy before Christmas.
Yeah, how is this comedy going? I'd
Great
love
so
to hear
far.
some. It's too bad it's always on Thursday. We don't have Trey. And he was such a good guest, man. Like, Trey's funny. He's
That
real
means
funny.
the last ham radio with Eddie Finaco before Christmas. That'll be December 18th.
Yeah. Speaking of ham, I don't have ham, actually. I have a 3-cheese pizza, Frankie.
It's ham radio. They call it ham radio.
I know. Ham radio with pineapples.
The Base Guys last show, technically before Christmas, will be December 20th.
Yeah. What's your last podcast of the year then, you think?
December 15th will be Jason Marshall. We don't have cookies as the last podcast before Christmas.
I think one of your last podcasts of the year will be Gary and Dino on the 28th of Saturday, the 28th of December.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Jason's last show before Christmas, December 15th.
Yeah. Last show before Christmas. Yeah. Want to see the pizza I'm about to put in the oven, Frankie?
Yeah.
It's not special. It's not. But if we're going to end the show on a pizza note, I might as well show the pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll be back. I went into Norma's general store today and I was like, I'm going to need something easy to make tonight, Norma. But all she had left for pizza was the Giuseppe Rising
Giuseppe
Crust.
Dr. Ocker.
Yeah. Rising Crust. And it's got
That,
4
on
cheeses.
Roger the Wild Child show, the only advertisement Roger the Wild Child it does is Prison Design and Company. Prism, like the design websites and things like this.
Right.
That's the only advertisement Roger the Wild Child show does is prison.
Yeah, I'm not trying to advertise it. And if I was out buying pizza in a place that had variety of pizza, I would probably not buy this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would definitely not buy a cheese pizza only. I'd never do. I'd probably go for the Hawaiian or a chicken one and probably get one with a thin crust or something, you know, and some kind of hippie pizza of some kind. Not this frozen bastard.
On Eastlink Cable Access TV, they don't do commercials on Eastlink Cable Access TV at all.
No. I think I better cook it.
And
Eat it
Cable
frozen doesn't
14,
work.
any other in Eastlink Cable Access TV in my area, they don't do commercials.
Yeah, well, luckily this isn't the Rogers time. This is just live stream chat time.
Rogers TV doesn't do commercials. It's a cable access TV. Don't do commercials like Rogers TV, Eastlink TV in my area.
So like, in theory, we could have a commercial now that the Rogers show is not filming. But this isn't a commercial because I would never probably buy a 4-cheese pizza. I would buy some hippie pizza.
They don't do commercials on Eastlink Cable Access TV in my area.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was to do a commercial, it would be for Hawkins Cheesies.
Yeah.
The best cheesies in the world, Frankie. Do you ever eat Hawkins Cheesies?
If they had a local pizza shop in Wells, British Columbia, you might do the commercial for them.
There is no local pizza shop in Wells.
Unless
think
somebody
sometimes-
opens up a local pizza shop in Wells.
I think there was, like, for a time, someone making pizza here.
Mhm.
Caribou Outlaw's gone. He's sketchy on the flip flop. So people are still watching, though. That's great. That blows my mind. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. And it's been a hard week. I was gonna mention when Mark was talking, he dived into Minecraft this week, and I had a similar experience. I had the TV on Tuesday, and then I had the horrible realization of what's going on in the world, and then I went into World of Warships and just started fucking hammering people. And then sometimes in the comments, some guy on the other team would be like, USA, all excited. And I'd be like, target him and just go hide behind an island until he come around. And I'd just one shot him and dev strike him. That's what you get. And I slept until 11, 2 mornings in a row, which is not like me. And I've had a hard time finding
they
sleep.
might have to get. What happens if somebody opens up a local pizza shop in Wells, British Columbia, and they get a pizza man?
It'd be good. At least then I could eat, pizza. That'd be the good thing about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then not being able to eat well, just the anxiety and anxiety about this week.
What
Things
happens
that are
if
going
they get a local pizza shop in Nanaimo, British Columbia, and Victoria, British Columbia too? They got their own local pizza shop business there.
They have great pizza in those places. And in Peterborough, Ontario, for a long time was the greatest pizza shop of all, Frankie, called the Night Kitchen.
That's a local pizza shop. It's a non-franchise.
It was so good, the Night Kitchen. It was just across there, right downtown, and we'd be playing music and whatnot. And I don't think the Night Kitchen is open anymore, but they always had all these crazy pizzas with, and some of them were really spicy.
People in Nanaimo, people in Victoria, they support their own local business.
Night Kitchen Pizzeria is still open downtown Peterborough, Ontario, I believe.
That's their own private. That's their own local business.
168 Hunter Street West. So that's where I used to go all the time because I'd always go to Peterborough when I growing up in Ontario, and
not like Pizza, not like Pizza Hut, not like Pizza Delight. It's just a local.
Oh, like some of the pizzas they had were like the Lone Wolf with cilantro, pesto, jerk chicken, jalapenos, pineapple, onions, and mozzarella.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Does that sound good? Basil pesto, roasted red pepper, red onion, curried Thai chicken with mozzarella, the Johnny Special. Does that sound good? That's it. The bacon green olive pizza with pineapple with red sauce and mozzarella, or the divorce, which is tomato sauce, pepperoni, Italian sausage, goat feta, and mozzarella. Oh, the Night Kitchen. It would be nice to go home. Tomato sauce, sausage, caramelized onions, fried sage, mozzarella. Oh, they were so good. And there's the Joy, the cilantro pesto, bacon, local strawberry, goat feta, and mozzarella pizza. That's just the carnivore versions. Because the vegetarians, they got tomato sauce, portobello mushroom, cremini mushroom, roasted garlic, parmesan mozzarella. Oh man, I mean the Night Kitchen, they had good, different hippie pizzas. I was going to advertise a pizza. It's going to be one that's actually good, not Giuseppe. Well, we lost Frankie, so I think that's good. Time for me to go. My pizza's in the oven. Maybe I'll go on World of Warships now and de-stress.
Go and fire myself up one of those pizzas too. I've got one in my fridge here.
Take out my biggest battleship with the biggest guns and then just fucking hammer the first American I see in the game. Okay. I love you, buddy.
Okay.
Good to see you. Thanks everybody for tuning in and putting up with me. And let's hope for a good weekend here. And remember, don't travel in BC on Saturday and Monday. I'm saying are probably the days you want to avoid.